Hi folks, Dr. H here. It's nice to have you with us, and I'm hopeful that everyone survived the snowstorm. Thank you for your patience with me as we work our way through this course. There have been a lot of technical issues that I've been dealing with, and perhaps you've been dealing with some of them. Hopefully those will get all ironed out very shortly. For this next section, we're going to be looking at the Renaissance, and while our study or our look at the medieval period was certainly not exhaustive, we did get the opportunity to experience some medieval art and some medieval music. This section I'd like for us to experience a little bit differently in that we're going to look at not only some art and listen to some music, but I would like for you to also listen and watch a couple of acts from Shakespearean plays. For example, I'd like for you to watch one act from Shakespeare's All's Well That Ends Well, and from another act from Shakespeare's As You Like It. I think you'll enjoy the performances of both of these plays. You don't have to watch the entire play. These are just 2 and 3 minute clips, I believe, so nothing exhaustive. If you would like to read the entire play, certainly by all means you are welcome to do so, but it isn't necessary for this section. Also on YouTube channels, there are some Shakespearean companies that produce the entire plays. I caution you, they're a couple of hours long, so unless you have some time to devote to it, again, that's not what I'm looking for. I want you to compare these two scenes or these two acts that you're going to be listening to, and listen to the literature, listen to the words, listen to the themes, and then let's listen to some Renaissance music. We're going to be listening to a motet. This is a motet is a sacred Latin piece of music. And this particular one is by the composer Thomas Tallis, an English composer. And what's interesting here is you have William Shakespeare, who was English and wrote these English plays, and you have Thomas Tallis, and they lived within, between 50 and 100 years of each other. And so I'd like for you to listen to how Thomas Tallis treats this text, O Nata Lux, O Night of Light is the translation, versus the Shakespearean treatment of texts that deal with other themes. And then we're going to be looking at some artwork as well. We're going to look at some of the works of Leonardo da Vinci and a couple of the works of Michelangelo, in particular Michelangelo's painting at the Sistine Chapel. I would like for you to pay close attention to both of these artists, Da Vinci and Michelangelo, in their treatment of their subjects, what they painted about. One of the things that we deal with in the Renaissance is the fact that the word Renaissance itself means rebirth. Well, a rebirth of what? Well, we can look at that in a lot of different ways, and of course there's a lot of debate about what exactly the Renaissance was to human society. But thinking in terms of rebirth or revitalization or renewal is probably the best way to go about approaching our survey of these components of art. Now, with respect to music and with respect to literature and respect to art, each individual composer, artist, author is developing in their own rights, and they're developing in their own ways. And what is happening in society during their lifetime is sometimes being reflected in their art. Remember that technology or technological advances as we have today, it lasts but a moment, really. I mean, by the time you get a computer home that you've just purchased, it's already outmoded practically. And this is true, of a lot of things today because of the fast pace of our life. But it's also true because humans want to keep up with the times. We want to continue developing in our knowledge and our skill. And so this was no different for composers of the Renaissance or authors of the Renaissance or artists in the Renaissance. Everybody was trying to be innovative. Everybody was trying to, I guess, outdo their contemporaries. But one of the things that you may notice about the Renaissance, particularly with respect to art, is the reality that is present. We're not painting or drawing ethereal objects much anymore. We are actually drawing on the humanism. We're drawing on the reality of what being alive is, and that when we draw a figure, even if it's of a religious figure such as Mary or of Jesus or of an angel, they're going to have realistic human features, wrinkles, skin, and so forth. So I encourage you to see if you can spot this versus what we saw artistically in the medieval period, where the drawings, the paintings were much more fanciful, let's say, much more on the order of, unreal or more angular lines, more of an abstract picture, I suppose you could say, of what a human being looks like, versus when we get into the Renaissance, we're seeing some actual things, not just perfect spheres or perfect angular lines, but we're looking at the reality of being human, and that there are flaws. There are flaws in the skin, there are flaws in nature, and they're not being disregarded, but they're being celebrated and uplifted. The only arena where that might not be true is in music. The music that develops in the Renaissance is actually really there's no flaw per se that you could point at and say, oh, that's real. But music is beginning to serve more of a different purpose. Obviously, in the medieval period, you listen to some Gregorian chant. The Gregorian chant was designed to be sung in the Roman Catholic Mass or the worship service of the Roman Catholic Church. Even though the literature, the musical literature that you're going to be listening to was designed to be performed within the confines of a church, in this case it would have been the Anglican Catholic Church, or the Church of England. We know it today as the Episcopal Church. The language is still Latin, but the music is quite different. There's a lot going on that's much more, let's say, pleasing to the ear. Not that chant's not pleasing, but there's a development that's happened. And I think you're going to notice that this developing trend continues on into the later periods. It'd be interesting to see if anybody can pick up on exactly what this trend is. It's very subtle right now, but it's going to become much more apparent the later in history that we go. So I encourage you to watch these acts of the Shakespearean plays. Again, they're only a couple of minutes long each. I do not expect you to watch any full-length plays unless you just want to. Of course, you are welcome to do that. Or if you'd like to read Shakespeare, by all means, please do so. The artistic or the artistry that I'd like you to view, the Da Vinci and the Michelangelo, you can spend as much time as you like on both of these artists. I will have specific works for you to look at. There will be links, of course, on our e-learning site. So, and you can, of course, listen to Thomas Tallis as many times as you like. I'm going to ask you to do similar things that I asked you to do in the medieval period, and that is to draw correlations between what you see, what you hear, what you experience. And again, we're talking about the experience of the humanities. So I was very, very pleased with your discussions on the medieval, and I look forward to seeing what you have to say about the Renaissance. So enjoy, and as always, if you have any questions regarding this course or the subject matter of the course, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thanks, folks, and we'll have more videos to come.